Ladies and gentlemen, there will be moments in life when everything feels broken, when the world seems silent and your dreams lie in pieces at your feet. But even in those quiet moments, there is something powerful stirring inside you. It's your will, your fire, your voice. And that, my friends, is where success truly begins, not in the noise of applause, not in the eyes of others, but within you. Success is not a destination, a bank balance, or a medal on the wall. It is the courage to get back up when life has knocked you down harder than you ever imagined. It's the strength to smile when your heart is heavy. And it is the power to say, I will not be defined by what happened to me. I will be defined by what I choose to become. You do not need a perfect start, nor do you need everyone to believe in you. What you need is one person, you. The day you stop waiting for permission, that is the day you begin to rise. Pain may shake you, but it doesn't have to break you. You may carry scars, but those scars are proof that you survived, that you are still here, that you are still capable of choosing light even in the darkest places. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not what the world has called you. You are what you decide to be, today, right now. Success starts not with circumstances, luck, or perfection. Success starts with your belief, your resilience, your willingness to rise again and again. So choose to rise. Thank you. Success begins internally. It does not begin with applause, recognition, or praise. It begins in the quietest part of you, the place where no one is watching and no one is cheering. It's the silent agreement you make with yourself in the dark moments that you will keep going, that you will not let your circumstances define you. Before any external achievement can exist, there must be an internal awakening, a decision that says, I am worthy of more. This decision is not loud or grand. It may start with a whisper, often drowned out by doubt, but it is there and it matters more than anything else. You could have the best support system, the right opportunities, and every door open in front of you. But if you don't believe you deserve to walk through them, none of it will matter. Success that's based on external forces alone is fragile. It wavers with people's opinions and collapses under criticism. But success that starts within, rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and self-belief, has the power to endure. It is not shaken by rejection or disappointment because it was never built to impress others. It was built to express your truth. When we talk about inner success, we are not speaking of arrogance or inflated self-esteem. We are talking about a quiet confidence, a deep knowing that, despite your flaws and failures, you still matter, that you still have something to offer, that you don't need to be anyone else to begin. This kind of self-belief isn't handed to you. It is cultivated in the fire of hardship. It is born when everything around you says you can't, and something inside you refuses to listen. There will be days when self-doubt visits you like an old friend, when you question your worth and wonder if you'll ever make it. But even on those days, you must return to the truth, that success is not waiting outside of you. It is already there, waiting to be claimed. No one can ignite it for you. Or is it? No one can hand it to you. You must go inward and light that spark yourself again and again. And the more you do, the brighter it burns, even if no one else can see it yet. Often, we look at people we admire and think they were born confident, strong, or gifted. But what we miss are the countless silent battles they fought with themselves. The mornings they got up with no motivation. The nights they cried alone. The moments they pushed forward with shaking hands and breaking hearts. What they had, what we all can have, is an inner foundation strong enough to stand even when the world gives no applause. The journey to success, then, is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to yourself. It is about peeling away the layers of fear, guilt, and expectation to find the raw, beautiful truth of who you are. When you begin to trust that version of yourself, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop chasing perfection. And you begin, finally, to live and rise from a place of power that no one can take from you. Hardship is not a detour on the road to success. It is the road. Every struggle, every painful chapter, every moment of doubt is not evidence that you're failing. It's proof that you're still moving. We often wish for a smoother path, one without thorns or storms, but the truth is, it's the storms that teach us how to sail. It's the difficult moments that carve out our strength and shape our resilience. The people who rise are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who refuse to stay down. Pain has a way of introducing us to ourselves. When life strips away what we thought made us strong, titles, routines, relationships, it leaves us with nothing but our essence. And it's in those raw, uncomfortable spaces that real growth begins. You realize that your worth never came from the things around you. It came from the courage within you. Pain does not come to break us, even if it feels that way. Sometimes it comes to wake us up, to remind us of our hidden power, our unspoken dreams, and the fire we forgot we had. There is a strange beauty in suffering, not because we enjoy it, but because of what it reveals to us who we are when no one is watching. It shows us how far we can bend without breaking. It pushes us into corners where we finally stop pretending and start healing. No book or degree or mentor can give you the kind of wisdom that surviving heartbreak, failure, or loss gives you. These experiences don't disqualify you from success. They prepare you for it. We must stop seeing hardship as a punishment and start seeing it as preparation. The person you are becoming needs the lessons hidden in the challenges you're facing today. Sometimes, what looks like delay is really divine timing. What feels like rejection is actually redirection. What seems like an ending is often just the beginning of a different, more meaningful path. But you won't see it until you walk through the pain, not around it. Don't rush to escape discomfort. Let it teach you. Let it refine you. It is in your lowest moments that you will find your deepest strength. And when you come out on the other side, not perfect, but more whole, you will see that hardship did not weaken you. It revealed you. It stripped away the noise and brought forward the voice that was always meant to lead. The voice that says, I've been through the fire and I'm still standing. Everyone's journey has chapters they never expected, but those chapters are not shameful. They are sacred. They are part of the story that only you can tell. And when others hear your story, they won't be moved by your highlight reel. They will be moved by your honesty, your struggle, your humanity, because that is what we all share, and that is where real connection and real success begins. Scars are not something to hide. They are something to honor. They are not flaws in your story. They are the evidence that your story continues. Each scar, whether visible on your body or etched silently in your heart, is a sign that you endured something that tried to break you. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still choosing to live. We are often taught to conceal our pain, to smile through it, to carry ourselves like we've never been wounded. But in doing so, we erase the very parts of ourselves that make us real, strong, and human. There is power in your pain, and even more power in your healing. When you look at your scars, don't just remember the hurt, remember the healing. Remember the nights you cried and still got up the next morning. Remember the days when everything inside you said give up, but something quieter and stronger whispered, just one more step. Those are not moments of weakness. Those are moments of incredible courage. Your scars are reminders of that courage, and they deserve to be seen not as signs of damage, but as symbols of endurance. We live in a world obsessed with perfection, airbrushed smiles, filtered lives, curated confidence. And yet, the people who move us most are not the ones who pretend to have it all together. They are the ones who show up with their scars visible, their hearts open, their truths unfiltered. Because when someone shares their pain without shame, it gives others permission to do the same. Your scars, when shared with honesty, can be a bridge to someone else's healing. They become proof that pain is survivable and that joy is still possible on the other side of it. A scar means the wound has closed. It means you've made it through something difficult, and though you are changed, you are not defeated. You may not be the same person you were before the pain, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you are wiser now, softer, more aware of the value of compassion and the strength in vulnerability. We often try so hard to return to who we were before the storm. But what if who we are becoming is even more beautiful? Because of the storm, there's no shame in being broken, only in pretending you've never been. Your brokenness, your repairs, your scars, they all form a mosaic of resilience. And just like a piece of shattered pottery mended with gold, your healed wounds make you more unique, more beautiful, more valuable. The Japanese call this kintsugi, the art of embracing brokenness as part of an object's history, not something to disguise. What if we did the same with our lives? What if we stopped apologizing for our scars and started honoring them as part of our gold? You are not weak because you carry pain. You are strong because you carry it and still choose love, joy, and hope. Every scar you bear has a name, a lesson, a battle, a breakthrough. And while others may only see the surface, you know what it took to survive. You know how hard it was to keep going. So wear your scars with pride. Let them speak not of suffering, but of triumph. Because that's what they are, silent testaments to the warrior in you who never gave up. You are not your past, no matter what you've done, what you've been through, or what you've lost. Those things do not define you. The past is not a prison. It is a place of learning. Too often we carry our past like a heavy backpack, filled with regret, guilt, shame, or pain. We let it whisper lies into our present, saying, "You are not enough, or you'll never change." But you are not bound to your yesterday. You are allowed to grow beyond it. Your story did not end there. Mistakes, failures, and missteps are part of being human. They are not the opposite of success. They are part of its foundation. No one walks through life without falling. No one learns without error. The problem begins when we take those moments and wear them like a label. I am a failure. I am broken. But those are not truths. They are temporary experiences. What matters is not where you have been, but what you choose to become from this moment forward. And yes, you always have that choice. Healing begins the moment you stop punishing yourself for being a work in progress. You are allowed to have a messy past and still build a beautiful future. You are allowed to have been lost and still find your way. And you are allowed to forgive yourself, not because what happened didn't matter, but because you matter more than the things you've done or endured. There is no strength in clinging to pain just because it's familiar. True strength is saying, I will no longer let my past write the rest of my story. The past may shape you, but it does not own you. You are not obligated to be the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even yesterday. D. You are free to shed old identities, break old patterns, and walk away from environments that no longer serve your growth. Don't stay in a version of yourself that was born out of survival, trauma, or fear. You survived. That in itself is a miracle. But now it's time to live. People will sometimes try to define you by your past because it's easier than seeing your transformation. Let them. You are not responsible for the narrative others choose to believe. You are only responsible for the story you are writing now. Let your actions speak. Let your evolution speak. You don't need to argue with your past. You only need to outgrow it. You only need to step fully into who you are now and who you are becoming. Every day is a chance to begin again. Not because the past disappears, but because you are stronger than what tried to break you. The past is a chapter, not the whole book. It's a place of reference, not residence. And the moment you stop looking backward with shame and start looking forward with hope, you reclaim your power. You reclaim you. Self-acceptance is not about settling for who you are. It's about loving yourself enough to become all that you're meant to be. It's the quiet decision to stop waging war against your reflection, to stop measuring yourself against impossible standards and finally say, I am enough, even as I grow. You cannot build true success on a foundation of self-rejection. You cannot bloom while constantly trying to be someone else. The journey toward greatness begins the moment you make peace with who you are. We are taught from a young age to compare, to compete, to correct ourselves into worthiness. But self-acceptance asks you to do something radical, to embrace yourself as is, not as a project in need of fixing. That means embracing your flaws, your insecurities, your past decisions, and the parts of you that still ache. Sometimes it means sitting in discomfort. It means sitting in discomfort. But that discomfort holds the door to healing. You do not have to be perfect to be powerful. You simply have to be real. When you accept yourself, you stop asking the world for permission to exist. You stop waiting for others to validate your voice, your choices, your dreams. Instead, you begin to move from a place of grounded confidence, not arrogance, but authenticity. You know who you are and what you value. And when criticism comes, and it will, it no longer dismantles you. Because you're not trying to prove anything, you're just being true. Self-acceptance is not the end of growth. It is the soil it grows from. When you finally stop beating yourself up for where you are, you give yourself the grace to evolve. Growth that comes from shame never lasts. But growth that comes from love, that is the kind that transforms you. You begin to eat better, speak kinder, dream bigger, not because you hate who you are, but because you love yourself enough to want more for your life. There will be people who try to define your worth for you, people who project their own insecurities onto your journey. But when you accept yourself, their words lose power. You stop shrinking to fit in. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You become unapologetic yourself, not loud, not boastful, just whole. And in a world that constantly profits off your self-doubt, that kind of wholeness is a quiet act of rebellion. The truth is, you cannot become your best self by despising your current one. The path to success is not paved with self-criticism. It is carved through compassion. So look at yourself today, with all your wounds, your wonder, your wisdom, and say, I'm proud of who I am becoming. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present and willing and honest enough to love the person in the mirror, even on the hard days. Talent may open the first door, but resilience is what keeps you walking through every door after that. In a world that often glorifies natural ability, intelligence, charm, it is easy to believe that if you don't have these things in abundance, success will always stay just out of reach. But that belief is a lie. Talent might get you noticed. But it is resilience, your ability to rise, to rebuild, and to remain, that will take you where talent alone never could. Resilience is born in the quietest moments the moment sees. When your hands are shaking, your hope is fading, and you choose to show up anyway. It's easy to stay motivated when everything is going well, but true strength is forged in the fire. It's built when the world turns its back, when your plans collapse, and when the applause is gone. That's when resilience speaks. It says, I'm still here, I'm still trying, I'm not finished yet. We've all seen people with all the talent in the world give up when things got hard. And we've seen others, less gifted maybe, rise simply because they refuse to quit. That's the beauty of resilience. It levels the playing field. It doesn't care where you came from, what you lack, or how many times you failed. It only asks one question. Will you get back up? Again and again, until the storm passes. Again and again, until you become what you've always been capable of becoming. There will be times when nothing makes sense. When it feels like you're giving everything and getting nothing in return, you will doubt yourself. You will want to walk away. That's normal. That those moments are not signs of weakness, they are invitations to deepen your strength. Every time you persevere in silence, every time you push forward without recognition, you are growing in ways no one can see, but that you will feel for the rest of your life. Resilience is a mindset. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about knowing that even when it's not, you are still capable of continuing. It's choosing to believe in the future even when the present hurts. It's waking up on days when motivation doesn't come and doing the work anyway, not perfectly, but honestly. Resilience isn't pretty, it's messy. It's gritty, but it's real. And it's the reason some people rise when everything else says they shouldn't. So don't envy the most talented person in the room. Be the one who refuses to give up. Be the one who stays after failure, who keeps trying after rejection, who finds a way when none seems to exist. That's resilience. And in the long run, it will take you further than talent ever could, because talent may shine, but resilience endures. And endurance is what success is truly made of. Dreams do not work unless you do. It is easy to fall in love with the idea of success, the stage, the recognition, the freedom. But behind every inspiring story is 1,000 unseen hours of discipline. Waking up when it'd be easier to sleep in, showing up when the excitement has worn off. Sacrificing comfort for consistency. Dreams are not just wishes, they are responsibilities. They require more than vision. They require action, and that action begins with discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not praised in the moment. It's waking up on a rainy day and doing the work anyway. It's choosing focus over distraction, purpose over pleasure. It's turning down the volume of the world so you can listen to the quiet voice inside you that says, "This matters." That voice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it barely whispers. But if you train yourself to listen and to act on it, that's discipline. That's what builds momentum. Talent can get you started, but only discipline keeps you going. Inspiration fades, motivation fluctuates, but discipline remains. It becomes the rope you hold onto when the climb gets steep and your hands are tired. Every step taken without applause, every effort made without reward strengthens the muscle of discipline. And that muscle, once built, will carry your dreams through the hardest seasons of your life. Sometimes we confuse discipline with pressure or punishment. But discipline is not a burden. It is a gift you give to yourself. It says, "I love you enough to do the hard things today, so you can enjoy the beautiful things tomorrow." It's a form of self-respect. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to show up again and again and again. That quiet persistence is where success begins to grow roots. Dreams without discipline stay stuck in the realm of fantasy. But dreams with discipline, they become legacy. They move from mere ideas to impact, from hope to history. There's nothing wrong with dreaming big, but don't forget to work small. One habit, one promise, 1 hour at a time. That's how dreams are built, not overnight, but over time, with the unglamorous beauty of daily commitment. And yes, discipline is hard, but regret is harder. It's easier to endure the struggle of staying committed than to carry the pain of wondering, what if I had tried a little longer? So show up, be consistent, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because the life you dream of is not waiting somewhere out there. It is waiting on the other side of your discipline. You were not born to stay silent. You were not given thoughts, experiences, pain, and perspective just to keep them hidden inside. Your voice matters, not because it is perfect, not because it is loud, but because it is yours. Too often, we convince ourselves that we have nothing valuable to say, that someone else is smarter, more eloquent, more worthy. But what if the very thing the world needs is the truth that only you can speak? Your story, your pain, they are not weaknesses. They are bridges. Someone some waiting to hear the words you've been holding back. And when you speak them, not as a performance, but as a gift, you make space for healing, for connection, for courage. We think that to be heard, we must shout. But sometimes the quietest voice, spoken with honesty, has the most powerful impact. Because people don't just hear words, they feel intention. You don't need a stage to make your voice count. You don't need a microphone to make an impact. Your voice shows up in the conversations you have, the boundaries you set, the kindness you offer, the truth you refuse to silence. Every time you speak up for what's right, every time you share something honest instead of something safe, you remind others that they're allowed to do the same, and that is powerful beyond measure. There will be people who don't understand your voice. People who criticize it, mock it, or try to quiet it. Let them. Their reaction is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their discomfort. Speaking your truth may not always be comfortable, but silence in the long run is far more costly. Every time you hide your voice to keep the peace, you lose a piece of yourself. And you are not meant to shrink to fit into spaces that were never built to honor your truth. Finding your voice is not a one-time moment. It is a practice. It's learning to trust your gut. It's allowing your truth to take up space, even when your voice shakes. It's accepting that not everyone will agree, but choosing to speak anyway. And it's remembering that you do not need to have all the answers to start speaking. You just need the courage to start where you are, with what you have. So speak. Share your journey. Ask your questions. Tell your story. Not to impress anyone, not to be true to yourself. Your voice might be the light someone else needs to find their way out of the dark. And even if no one hears it right away, even if it feels like you're speaking into silence, don't stop, because your voice matters. And the world needs it more than you know. Failure is not the end. It is part of the path. We are conditioned to see failure as something shameful, something to avoid at all costs. But if you look closely, you'll find that every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has failed, sometimes publicly, sometimes painfully. What made the difference is not that they never fell, but that they refused to stay down. Failure does not define you unless you allow it to. Let it refine you instead. The truth is, failure is one of the greatest teachers life offers. It strips away the illusions. It humbles you. It shows you where to grow, what to change, and how to become stronger. It is through failure that we gain clarity, character, and courage. When you succeed, you gain confidence. But when you fail and still get back up, you gain power. Power that no applause or praise could ever give you. Sometimes failure feels like rejection, like the universe saying, "You're not good enough." But more often it's a redirection. A pause, not a punishment. A reminder that your timeline is not broken and your worth is not dependent on constant success. When a door closes, it's easy to feel like everything is falling apart. But what if things are actually falling into place? What if the failure is making room for something better, something more aligned with who you truly are? The shame that surrounds failure is often louder than the lesson. People may whisper doubt or even laugh. But none of that matters, because this is your journey, not theirs. And every stumble, every no, every collapse, it's all teaching you something about resilience, about patience, about faith. Let failure grow you, not harden you. Let it deepen your compassion for others and for yourself. You are not a failure because something didn't work out. You are human. And part of being human means risking, trying, and sometimes falling. What matters is not whether you fail. It's what you choose to believe about yourself after you do. Will you believe the lie that says you're not capable? Or will you believe the truth? That this moment, painful as it may be, is a stepping stone, not a dead end. Let failure stretch you. Let it shape you. But never let it stop you. Because the ones who succeed are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who learn every time they do. The ones who fail forward, who keep showing up with a wiser heart and stronger hands. So don't fear failure. Fear a life where you never tried because you were too afraid to fall. Because in truth, the only real failure is never starting at all. Success is not one size fits all. The world will try to tell you what success should look like. A title, a trophy, a bank balance, a certain kind of lifestyle. But if you spend your life chasing someone else's definition of success, you may one day reach it and still feel empty. The truth is, success has no universal formula. It is deeply personal. It is not about what the world applauds. It is about what brings you peace, purpose, and joy. You define what matters. You decide what enough looks like. Maybe success for you is building a company. Maybe it's raising a kind child. Maybe it's healing from a trauma you never thought you'd survive. Maybe it's finding the courage to be fully, unapologetically yourself. Success could be quiet. It could be soft. It could be simply waking up in the morning and choosing to keep going. Don't let anyone tell you that's not enough, because you get to decide what enough is. When you stop comparing your journey to others, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly. The pressure to compete fades. The need to prove dissolves. And suddenly, you're not chasing a finish line someone else painted. You're creating your own path with your own values. That is freedom. That is real success. Not becoming someone the world celebrates, but becoming someone you are proud of when you look at the mirror. True success feels like alignment, not achievement. It feels like waking up and knowing that your life reflects your truth. That your energy is going where your heart wants to be. That your success isn't measured in likes or status, but in how deeply you are living your purpose. That purpose doesn't have to be grand or flashy. It just has to be true. Even if no one else sees it, if it brings you peace, it's success. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the need to fit into someone else's mold. Don't owe the world a version of yourself that looks successful but feels empty. You owe yourself a life that feels honest. A life that honors your story, your struggles, your strengths. You get to rewrite what success means as many times as you need to. Because you're not chasing a destination, you're living a journey. And the journey is yours. So take a breath, look inward and ask yourself, what does success mean to me? Not to my parents, not to society, not to strangers on a screen, but to me. When you define that, everything else becomes clear. Noise fades, the path becomes yours, and every step you take from that place of clarity, of ownership, of truth is not just a step towards success, it is success. So as you walk out of this room into your lives, your dreams, your battles, remember this: success doesn't begin in a classroom, a company, or a crowd. It begins with you. With the choices you make when no one is watching, with the courage to rise after falling. The quiet decision to keep going when the world tells you to quit. You are not too broken, too late, or too small. You are becoming. Every scar, every setback, every small victory, they're all shaping something extraordinary. So dare to believe it, dare to own it. Because the power to build a life of meaning, impact and joy, it has always lived inside you.